The meme that's really not a meme of kangaroo boxing.
Yeah.
They can like kick you in half, like if they kind of.
Yes, they can. They can literally kick. They can literally kick you in half. That is not a joke. You do not play around, like, especially with a man. You don't play around with a kangaroo. Their claws are sharp.
Well, for all of you out there that enjoy D&D that are watching this now or in the future, hello from the past to those of you in the future we haven't met yet watching. Kangaroos are D&D monsters, and you should use them. And you should try kicking one of your players in half.
Yeah, oh yeah. As Solthor says that everything Australia wants to kill you. That's the meme. Truly,
Yeah.
that's not the case. But
It won't kill you, but it will.
it will. It doesn't want to, but it will.
It doesn't want to, it will.
Well, most of the stuff that people are worried about, you get the three big things, which are spiders,
Yeah.
snakes,
Yeah.
and box jellyfish.
Oh.
Spiders and snakes, you stay away from them, and they'll stay away from you. They're more scared of you than you are of them. As for box jellyfish, well, they don't have brains.
Yeah, they just kind of do their thing.
They just do their
kind
thing.
of exist and kind of flop around, and then if you get stung one by one, well, too bad for you.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't get medical assistance in like 5 minutes, you are guaranteed to die.
From from the box jellyfish, or is that because it paralyzes you and you drown, or is that a toxin?
It's a neurotoxin.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So I hear that the cure for that is you just pee on it. You pee on the wound, right?
That doesn't work. That doesn't work for box jellyfish. But if you get stung by a blue bottle, a Portuguese man of war, yeah. Pee, vinegar. It's don't get stung by a blue bottle. Portuguese man of war.
Everyone out there, I am not a doctor. I said that tongue in cheek because there is a home remedy like that, but always consult your local wildlife interactors.
It's basicwant acid is really what it is, and because urine is very acidic because of the uric acid in it, it works. But you want if you have something more powerful on hand like vinegar, use the vinegar. But basically, you want an acid to neutralize the blue bottle poison. It won't work on box jellyfish because they use a different kind of thing. But yeah, Phoenix also got it right as well. Don't try and swim on isolated beaches. Don't ignore the signs.
I just imagine something like a fire extinguisher, except it's just filled with vinegar. Or that you flavor almost literally when a D&D spell like remove poison is actually you're just like manifesting vinegar and you're just coating someone. Turn them into a pickle.
I could do that. I could do that right now for right now in this game for the simple fact of I currently possess an alchemy charm.
Yes, that's true.
I was just thinking about it.
But
I cast vinegar.
No, basically, if any of you do ever come over to Australia, like, you don't really have to worry about 90% of the creatures unless you decide to go out to the country or into the water at the beach. And if you do that, there's a very simple thing.
Follow the rules.
Follow the rules, be prepared if something happens, stay aware, and you'll stay alive and have no problems.
And don't split the party.
Don't split the party. That's just a golden rule wherever you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
basically use common sense, but common sense is not so common anymore.
Fortunately for you all, I have made sure to keep you all corralled. And if did you all want any sort of reminders about things, or I think you have a gist of what's been going on now after you've made it this far in our gauntlet. For any of you that are new here, by the way, you can see that they started here at the bottom, and they have done things going up and up and up. There's a tunnel right here, and they just exited the tunnel, and now, as Casimir had strode forward, some very slow words. These creatures off to the side seem to take approximately 18 seconds to deliver a riddle. And if you wanted to begin, or if there's any more table talk, I love talking about this stuff with you all and having fun with it, because this is a part of any D&D session, and especially as a group of friends getting together, even remotely as we are. This is, I think this really helps. I don't know. It does help set the mood. It can get us creative. It warms us up, and it's just good to connect, right? Because especially if I'm in lecture mode. Now this is just me talking, as going on to present workshop stuff. I get to talk to you all, but it's not the same as like spending time. Does that make sense? Like, we're actually spending time together right now, and I really cherish this. So thank you for that. That being said, I'm sorry for anything that may happen in the future tonight.
It's why I
just send me a new character sheet so I can work on it.
Well,
look, I've already lost one.
So Casimir, you did stride forward, and as has been happening, there are words that are said to you, though everyone can hear. And where we had left off was the words, "What has many?" Although I need to work on my slow and grumbly voice. But what has many? As Casimir, you ended up rolling into the riddle that this kind of thing, this dragon thing, because remember that all of these are... one second here. We're to flash over here real quick. This is kind of a, the path you're on is a little bit more wiggly, but you have these weird things off on the sides. Of course, ahead of you, despite being called the pit, is a magnificent building. However, you have been descending down and down and down further due to Bright Body's meteor swarms, plural, that had blasted through Oiho and really seemed to get to the core of things. And of course, this pit too is seemingly troublesome because, as you found out, there was this is causing trouble not just for the Shrine Circus, but even for the residents of Oiho. So in different ways, you're addressing different problems, even if you're pursuing your own personal goals. But for you all as the players probably remember this, but if anyone else out there watching is new, this is a little bit more detailed representation of the path that they're following. Of course, if you don't believe my squiggles, because the way that I've been running this is pretty much how I would draw it for you all if we were sitting at the same table. You roll out a big 1-inch grid vinyl mat. I get the water erase markers, and and we have a lot of fun doing that. But, given the format, pictures like this, I hope help. But we're going to cut back to my immaculately drawn gauntlet of lava-leaking, dragon-twisted thingy corpse maybes. It's a technical term. And as you can imagine, after these words are delivered, there is some kind of an invisible bonky wall that is going to be somewhere ahead that is manifesting and would prevent further continuation there until the riddle is solved.
It sends us to bonky jail.
Yes, it does. Now, I would like you all to roll initiative. Always a fun button to press. And I'm going to do the same as we find out what is going to happen here. Oh, all right, there's a number. Ooh, Cypher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, that's what, blow your crits on initiative. What do I care?
Right. Yeah.
So Casimir goes third. despite rolling a 19.
Yeah, so
Yep.
for those of you that can't see, because Twitch chat is covering our chat, which honestly is more of a safety measure for you all, because our chat is a special place. Yeah, Mordecai's going on a 24. That's a green number. Professor's going on a 23. That's a green number. And Casimir rolled a 19, and he's going on a 21. So we'll see what happens. Now there is an effect that is going to take place as you are going to start hearing kind of a tapping on the rocks of this place. Tap, 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 tap. In kind of a rhythm. And before anything else happens, I do need... we had Casimir. As you were the one that started this, I need you to make a...
Oh, doesn't Bright need to roll initiative?
Oh yeah, you know what? Let me open up Bright. We'll see if we're joined. If Fluffy will come in, but
22, and Casimir goes last of the party.
all right, I'll pull Bright off to the side here. All right, Bright, are you going to get a big number 2? Let's find out. Click back over here, and I clicked it. Oh, no, that's a very low number. Well, that's because probably I rolled it instead of Fluffy. But you know what? Bright's been kind of taking up an observational distance, so clearly she's scouting things out here. And so what you'll see here is Casimir. There's a figure off behind this. That is, well, this isn't the one that's addressing you. It is coming around from behind this statue, and you hear this tapping, and as you do, your feet begin to move on their own in time with whatever this rhythmic scraping and tapping on the rocks are. And you are under the effect of Otto's irresistible dance. Now, what this is going to do, you must use all your movement to dance without leaving your space, and you have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws and attack rolls. While the target is affected by the spell, other creatures have advantage on attack rolls against it. As an action, a dancing creature makes a wisdom saving throw to regain control of itself, and the spell will end if you do so. However, you begin to a dance to a rhythm of some kind, to music that's not heard, but there's a dance going on. Your feet begin to match up. So
There's no save for it?
You will at the end of your turn,
Okay.
but the effect manifests. Oh, you know, this is well, it says creatures that can't be charmed are immune to the spell, but it itself. You can't be charmed?
I'm a fae. Or fae ancestry.
So
That's
that would
advantage of saves versus being charmed.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it manifests. You're
I
not.
can't be put to sleep. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of an all or nothing in this case, but that's why this is a 6th level spell, because you just cast it and you at least get that one turn of a guaranteed no movement.
I will also ask if it is sound based.
This is.
Just because I have fake ears.
Yeah. The spell itself isn't, because it doesn't require hearing. The
Okay.
caster must simply see and be able to target you. So I guess you wouldn't hear the rhythmic tapping of your own feet or the feet around, but for the others, the description will stand where you hear almost kind of like a tap, not quite a tap dance or a clog, but still a rhythmic.
He probably can feel the rhythm.
All right. So this effect goes off, and we're in our initiative. Mordecai, you are up first. Given where you're at, I mean, if you move a little bit, you might be able to peer around at the source of the noise. But right now, you cannot see whatever is creating this, whatever's creating this sound. What would you like to do at the top of initiative?
Just so I understand what the effect is.
It's Otto's irresistible dance.
Irresistible dance. Okay. Then
So you can just make the save now if you want.
I am actually going to take my action and perform a counter charm.
Ooh.
Oh. Yeah, that's the thing that...
That's the thing that Mordecai does.
Yeah, bards get stuff like that.
Now it's just a question of whether that actually works for... Whether that actually works for the thing. Frightened frightened or charmed. I mean, would you consider it a charm effect, considering that it wouldn't work if you're immune to being charmed?
Well, it is an enchantment. I think that mechanically you are not charmed, but given these circumstances, I think that counter charm. I will allow advantage on the save for Casimir as Mordecai. What are you playing on your violin, or do you want to do another dance alongside?
Kind of a combination of both, because he is both a musician and an acrobat. So a lot of times when he's performing, flourishes and that are included anyway.
Okay.
But basically, he's just playing his violin and doing an Irish river dance.
Yeah, there we go.
Obviously.
Yes.
Like,
Performing-
it's right.
The chat has it right in that Mordecai is Lindsay Sterling.
Yeah,
All right then.
That's perfect. Perfect.
Kind of always used her as an inspiration for him in that regard. So, aside from that, if he's the only one being charmed like that, do I see what is producing this spell?
Not from where you're currently at, but if you begin to move around this large statue, you'd be able to get a look.
Okay. I'm not gonna move very far, because if I do, then Casimir won't be in range. So instead, next to me, I am going to produce a spiritual weapon.
Oh, all right.
And kind of, I can't really hold that, but it's
We'll
going
pretend
to,
Jasper is your spiritual weapon.
Okay, it's kind of going to be there in defense of me.
Okay.
So
All right. Anything else, Casimir? Or not Casimir, Mordecai?
no, that's my action and bonus action.
Okay. Then we're going to go to Professor Cypherius.
Yep. Am I under the effect of this dance?
Nope.
Okay. So I can move then. So I'm gonna float up and see if I can't see what the cause of this sound is.
Yeah. All right. So, boop, 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 boop. You start floating up. These are pretty tall statues, so I'm going to say that these are about 30 feet tall. But they're kind of irregularly shaped, so if you do go up the 30, you'd be able to get an angle, like around and through some of the bony, like, parts of the wings and everything. And
I was already a little bit up, and I've got 30 feet of flight, so I could probably get above it and look down.
you are going to see Ah, this will work. All right, you see that hiding, kind of hiding, very much behind, and hugging is the H word I wanted. The edge here is a person that is dressed very opulently, very bright clothes. You're even seeing like some gold chains, just signs of cheer and opulence. Even some wonderful little curved boots that have little bells at the end. That must be a part of this dance. And this thing is dancing and looking over in the direction of the dragon that spawned it, as well as Casimir. And as it's dancing, you see a couple things that stand out. One, it looks very cat-like. It has a cat head, very fuzzy and noble, must be very warm. And also, while it has its hands on its hips, kind of doing a little dance as well, its hands are on backwards. And it seems to be having a good time. And as you float up and you see it, you can see its bright, glinting, golden eyes flick up your way, Professor. Although there's nothing in the immediacy that's going to take place because of that. However, you see a very, almost a cheerful fellow, especially for a place like this. Everything else has been kind of, claws and fangs and like living or unliving darkness. This is it's a cat person. Just, I don't know, someone swapped the action figure's hands around. But yeah, that's what you see, Professor.
Beams.
3-1.
Right. So, first thing is first. Could I please get a wisdom saving throw, please?
Sure. Let's do this.
Is this what I think it is?
17.
That is a fail. Can it be frightened?
That is a very good question. Now, you are not going to have an answer to that in the immediacy. As you fire one of your beams down towards it, it looks up at you, and with a dancing flourish, it takes one of its hands, and it simply baps away your beam. Like it doesn't exist. Like, nope. Your beam is deflected down into the lava.
It's fine, there's another beam. Can I get you to make another wisdom save for me, please?
I will gladly roll another wisdom saving throw. 18.
That one's gonna pass.
Then your beam impacts this thing. It's simply like it almost like it baps away. It does almost a little pirouette. Your beam lands and it simply looks down, looks up at you, and gives a fangy smile before bringing the hand down in a flourish of a bow. Yeah. Anything else, Professor?
Yeah, it's time for a warlock to do what a warlock does best.
Okay.
Hexing its strength.
This is now your hex. I think you described it before. Is it like a bunch of sort of like sigils and numbers that kind of like manifest and like project forward, or was that something else?
No, it is. They appear on the creature.
Okay.
Kind of like a marking.
Yeah. All right. Your eye stalks, kind of do their own little little dance here because it's you do have a somatic component here, but of course you're used to your body by now and you can perform this. Your numbers and figures pour over the creature as they are, as you are sort of like quantifying and manipulating its abilities. The thing simply takes its hand and takes those numbers and almost like a scarf, like peels your numbers up and begins to twirl, and it does a dance with your numbers before kind of throwing it up into the hot air. Your spell was cast, however, it did not seem to take effect.
Oh, I know exactly what this is now. God damn it. Alright. Yep. Alright. Okay. Gonna have to pull out the big guns then. That's my turn.
Alright. Next up, we are going to Casimir, who only had a 21.
Oh, boo.
So you are spending your turn dancing, your movement. Now you can still make an attack. It would be at disadvantage because your feet are shuffling. You're doing this. You're almost like
anything
mimicking.
to attack.
What's that?
There's nothing to attack.
I mean, if you really
My
wanted to,
name.
you might be able to, like, I don't know, you could throw your axe maybe, but that'd be at disadvantage and it might fall in the lava. So it's up to you if you wanted to spend
You
your.
have 3 of them.
You do, yeah. You carry several.
I do own 3 battle axes.
If you wanna huck one, it is a battle axe, but you're also not normal Casimir. So I'm willing to. You're also doing this at disadvantage anyway, so I can't do anything to you more. If you want to just like almost like match and spin with this thing, but you're spinning to gain momentum in your dance to try and hit this thing with a battle axe, you can do so if you want.
I mean, I don't want to hit the statue because that just kind of screwed us over last time. And that's the only thing he sees. I honestly don't know. I think I'm gonna conjure some animals.
Sure.
Let me pull up a list real quick. I'm just gonna cast this at 3. Oh. Okay, so I'm casting that at level 3. And I'm going to summon... I think I'm gonna do just one large beast of 2. I'm gonna summon Derpy Snakey.
Oh yes, but hey, that thing's put in work
Giant
for you.
constrictor snake.
Yeah. Oh, I think we even had something kind of like that we were able to use.
Dirt snake is
I think
Dirt
we had
snake is
just
arrived.
snake, yeah.
Yeah, I forget which category it was under. Was it under wet caverns? Because that's kind of that's where you used a big old snake.
Yeah.
There's a lizard. There's a snake man warrior. That is whatever, like intellectually distinct from Yuan-Ti, Wizards of the Coast.
And giant constrictor snakes are huge, by the way.
Okay. I'm not seeing a snake offhand, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop down I will drop down a Snake Man Warrior. And we're going to make your monster grow. 2 and 3.
That works.
And, so do you want it in this area? Because from the angle, you're not going to be able to see the person, but you can at least get the snake close to it. Do you want it over here?
I would be able to know that Cypher's shooting or something, so I'd just be like, Derpy Snake, take whatever's over there.
Sure. Okay, yeah, you manifest it. However, the snake does appear not in a in a cosmetic fashion as I'm describing it. It appears to be like on fire, like it slithers up, almost like living lava, out of this stuff. It does look like a snake. It acts like a snake, and it looks like it's just made of molten rock and other things, and it will follow your commands. But it definitely has a twist to how it appears.
Alright. So
and
it's going to.
yep.
Sorry, it's going to attempt to constrict. Which is D20 plus 6.
Now, this is actually going to bring up an interesting
Yeah.
an interesting interaction, actually.
Considering this creature's immunities.
Yeah. It is a summoned creature. They are fey spirits that take the form of beasts.
Rules is written they're a creature, not a spell. They're summoned by a spell, but they're a creature. Because they're considered fey.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's your ruling. That's your DM.
Yeah, this is such a weird. I don't know offhand, but you know what? I don't want to plumb the depths of Q&A. What I'm gonna say is I like this tactic, Casimir, in this circumstance, and you know we can always look it up later because honestly, this is an interesting interaction for DMs out there. I'm gonna say
What's the interaction?
the spell is below a level of interaction immunity to magic. It's a so it wasn't.
I can actually explain that one because I've used this particular creature before with
Oh,
said
in a
ability.
circumstance?
Yes. It's spells that specifically target it. So, and area spells that capture it, but things such as summoning creatures and whatnot are not affected by that. Because they're either A, not caught in an area of effect, or B, not specifically targeted by the spell.
Then that makes enough sense. It backs up my inclination that I was going to roll with. So, Casimir, you summon this lava snake. It comes out, and you are having it constrict. It tries to lunge forward to wrap around this dancing catman, and it is able to kind of it jumps out of the way. It almost does like a little cartwheel over the head as it like darts forward to wrap around. It does a little cartwheel over and lands with a flourish.
Alright. Well, that's my turn.
Alrighty. That
Do
is
I
going.
get to roll to resist?
Yep, you get advantage because Mordecai is playing
Okay.
a counter charm, and I think that would work here.
Happy little tune.
I'm gonna use one because I am notorious for failing saves.
Okay, you're gonna use one of your plus ones.
It's it's dexterity, right?
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
It's wisdom, even worse.
Yes!
Yes!
Hey, there's a
That's a
green
crit.
number. There you go.
That's a.
I did it!
Yay.
I did it,
I think that's the first save that Casimir has passed ever. So for
I've
every
passed dex saves, but that's like
dex
the.
save. Yeah, but for everyone out there, you've come in at a momentous time. Casimir has just passed their first ever wisdom save.
As a ranger, everyone, where normally you'd
ranger.
suspect wisdom is like, you know, at least like a good, like a solid secondary, or maybe a tertiary, but
I have
Wisdom's my
nothing.
solid.
It is
like-
it is a 0.
That's the thing with rangers. Rangers kind of get the stats that they use. They get a really bad saving throw choice.
I got good strength and good dex and some good con, and that's it.
Yeah, for the simple fact of
I am
like
physical.
You're
they're
fine. You're
set
not
as all of them are set as like one primary, one secondary, and unfortunately, both of the rangers' stats that they need are both primary stats. primary being Dex, Con, Wisdom, secondary being Strength, Intelligence, Charisma.
The creature continues a dance like this is just a fun romp on a warm summer's day, just a little warmer than usual, and it disappears. Bloop.
Well, that makes it Bright's turn.
That does make it Bright's turn. Bright is going to... what are some things that Fluffy... I think might be holding an action. Probably holding a... probably holding a firebolt, because that seems to be what was done before. So Bright is going to hold onto a firebolt as soon as Bright Skull can see this creature.
And that brings it up to the top of the round, where Mordecai's going first.
Mordecai is going first, but at the super top of the round, because I don't even have to roll initiative for it, I get to share a couple more words with you all. And I'll write it out here. The riddle continues as it started out with, "What has many keys but can't?" And Mordecai, the turn goes to you. What are you doing?
So I'm going to be moving my spiritual weapon about 20 feet to about here.
Okay.
And myself right here. I am going to...
Do you want to be under Bright, or do you want to, like, are you physically there on the ground, or do you want to be under Bright? And the professor's up in the air, too.
I am going to... No, I'm gonna stay there, about there.
Okay.
And I am going to... I am no longer playing Counter Charm. I am instead inspiring... I think Casimir still has an inspiration from me?
He does.
I don't remember offhand. I know that you were inspiring Casimir.
Yes.
Yes, he does, because it's it lasts 10 minutes in game time, and we haven't spent 10 minutes yet.
Okay.
Then I am spending... well, that was the movement of the spiritual weapon was my bonus action, I think.
Yes, that's a bonus action.
Fire someone, but I'm going to hold. I am going to hold you know what? Actually, I'm going to cast Bless from the violin on my teammates.
Ah, okay.
So, on Casimir, the Professor, and on Bright, they're blessed with a prayer to Ouija's. Why he knows that prayer?
Yeah, like a weird, like, I'd say a muscle memory, but or like a, even like a reflex, but that's kind of weird. That, you know what? It was from your days. It was from maybe your youth, right? Your parents took you to your local ossuary pretty often, so maybe it was just a clutch the pearls moment, that adrenaline.
They were also primarily followers of Luna. Why do I know so well. But instinctual.
Let's go to Professor Cypher. What are you doing now? I'm sorry, unless Mordecai, was there anything else?
No, that does it for my action.
Okay.
Bonus action.
Hey, Maddie.
Yes.
I'd like to solve the riddle, please.
The riddle hasn't been delivered yet, so the riddle is currently unsolvable.
Really?
Yeah, you're welcome to solve it after the riddle's been delivered, but I get my pound of flesh first, my friend.
Yeah, I know what the I know what the answer is. All right. Well, I suppose that I shall spit some teeth at this thing.
You don't see the thing.
Yeah, it is invisible, so.
Actually, to negate that, this will be the order in which I do it in, but I can negate that. As a bonus action, I will use my liar's gaze to detect invisible creatures.
Oh, all right. Well, you very much have. But by the way, as a reminder, everyone, this is what the professor looks like. Well, he has his normal-looking token out right now. So this thing isn't on the map, but just so you all know. All right, yeah. So you can detect an invisible creature, and you see that it has crept up really close to Mordecai. Now you can target it with an attack because you can see it.
Yeah, and I spit teeth at it. So does a 19 hit?
Yes, it does.
Woo.
So the first one's 13, and the second one's 11, so that's 24 damage.
Okay. It doesn't say that, but I like making that noise. I thought of the Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. But no, so Mordecai, I imagine you probably see behind you two teeth whiz past your head and slam into an invisible presence nearby you.
Yep. The teeth like go up. They embed themselves, and then there's almost like a little spin, and the teeth fly off. But it does look like there is something invisible that's uncomfortably close to you. Anything else from you, Professor Cypherius?
No, that's me. I'm now just waiting to answer the riddle.
Alrighty. It is now. It's now Casimir's turn. Casimir, you have your feet again. You also have a snack. What would you like to do?
First off, where did Professor shoot at? Because I would see that.
The professor shot over here.
Okay. I would like my Sneaku to move around this area.
Okay.
And he has 10 feet of blind sight.
Oh, yeah.
So I would like him to constrict.
How dare you take advantage of a tap dancing Rakshasa to detect it by, so yeah, go ahead and, make your, 18 hits?
So. Oh, I get to roll a dice for it, too. 2d8 plus 4. Does 13 points of damage, which is average. Bludgeoning, if that matters.
Okay.
The target is grappled, and grappled and restrained.
Okay. So that is, unless there's anything else from you, Casimir.
Well, now that there's a restrained creature, I can't see it, but I can see where the snake is. So I can run up here. Just hop over Mordecai with my wings. And give it a few whacks.
Yeah. Those attacks, you can make the attacks. They would still be at disadvantage because it is invisible. Because it could wiggle, like maybe you go to the side, or maybe you don't want to accidentally hurt your snake. But you can absolutely make attacks on this thing as it's in a coil.
Well, because it's restrained, it would even it out.
Oh, that's true, right? Oh, yeah. All right, so yeah, these are just straight up, which is absolutely in your favor because you hit like a beast. That's
and you're at a plus 1d4 if it doesn't hit.
Yep.
And inspired.
If you really need it, but use the 1d4 first because you just get that on each attack.
Yep.
Alright, so...
I'm sure that hits.
That
Does 17 hit?
17 does hit. Yes, it does.
Okay.
That's another 21 points of damage.
And then I got a tail whip. Oh,
And
wait.
that's
Colossal Slayer.
It has
Yep.
taken damage, yes. All right.
that's 36 more.
So
That's
you
a really nice
lay
stat.
into this thing, and yeah, you are hacking at this invisible thing, and the invisible thing is rather upset. But right now it can't do anything just yet. Is there anything else you want to do while you're laying into this beast?
Nope, that's all I can do.
Okay. I get to go. Now, this is an interesting conundrum. Because I wanted to do a thing, but this is going to be... Okay. There is a tonal shift in so much that you had this creature that was dancing with a flourish. It turned invisible. But now, Casimir, you hear a really vicious, like a snarl, like, meow, very cat-like. And...
Casimir just returns his own. This is probably more of like a sand dog park.
Your AC is 20?
Yep.
Okay. You feel kind of a warm wind waft over you, and to your right, then on your left, there's something incoming, but your natural swing kind of brings your battle axe up enough that it baps away something that impacted against your axe and not you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is going to take us to Bright. Bright is actually going to see because this thing made an attack. After it does, you can see that this thing is it's snarling. It looks really funky now. Like you're super close to it. It had a very nice image, but now it looks even more like it's been constructed. You hit it a couple times, but this thing looks now a lot more like the other objects, illusions, or creatures that you've encountered, where it is a lot more vicious. It's not a big, fluffy, dancing cat. It is a savage, feral-looking thing, almost in a way, Casimir, like a predator, like a super predator, kind of like what you've become. Like you're getting that kind of resonance from it. And for all those that are watching as well, you're going to get that kind of predatory morphed vibe that you have been exploring, kind of being exposed to throughout this. And so this creature, Riao's, snarls, it appears. Bright's pew-pews go off. And, will hit.
It's also a cantrip, though, isn't it?
It's what?
It's also a cantrip.
Oh, that's true. It is.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure if it's immune to I'm not sure if that particular thing gives immunity to cantrips. I think it's slotted spells. Oh wait, yep, nope, 6 or lower. Yep.
Yeah, it specifically words it that way.
So in this circumstance, despite that, still had like, all right, it clawed at Casimir. It's in this coil of a snake, and it's really close. At that time, Bright's eyes kind of give that like that beam like you see in a lot of memes and other things, or like in anime. You get like the stars in the eyes, and the lasers fire down, and even still, it like catches. One beam went a little wide. Fortunately, it didn't hit your snake, but the other one kind of went up, and now instead of playfully dancing, it catches in its backward hand. It catches the fire and just kind of crushes it as it snarls and hisses. But we're back to Bright just in time for Bright to take a full turn. She will see that magic is having not a big effect on this thing, and so I think she's going to she's gonna act like a little, almost purely made of magic 1-foot skull would do, and I guess just take some sort of a protective, a defensive, whatever a defensive stance for a flame skull that's hovering in the air would look like. I'll leave that to your imagination. But we'll just say she's strategizing, because that's what Evil Bright... I mean, that's what Bright, but that's what Evil Bright would actually... Bright wouldn't say it. Evil Bright would say it. I'm strategizing. Oh no. Casimir has been subsumed by... by Shonaroth, apparently. The black and green tendrils have penetrated hell and have grabbed for all of you out in Twitch chat, you can't see, but Casimir just had a classic Roll20 command derp out, where it just looks like a bunch of gibberish, or that Zalgo is in fact arriving on the scene.
I wasn't even touching my laptop. I was drawing. I just looked up and was like, what?
Okay, so that was Bright's turn. We come back to the top. Mordecai, you see this thing? It's there. It's coiled. If you want to do something against it, it's hissing and spitting.
Does more of the riddle play out first?
Oh shoot! I'm sorry. Yeah, super top of the initiative is the rest of the riddle, which is now delivered fully as follows. So, yes, now the professor's joining in too. Mordecai, you're the only sane one left.
It is also your turn.
But yes, what has many keys but can't open a single lock?
A piano.
And with a hissing snarl, and not exactly a meowth that's right, the thing disappears. And you can't see it, but this invisible bonk ahead of you is perhaps gone too.
Well, we gotta keep moving.
Yep, let's keep moving. Thankfully, that didn't take a whole lot out of me.
Alright.
That also means that Bless and Spiritual Weapon are gone. And I didn't get to use it. Darn.
To be fair, if you didn't solve it, I was going to.
I'm following the professor.
All right. Not that there's not the sounds of bubbling lava or intensity around you, but to lower the volume here to focus on the narration. The path ahead, there's only 2 more guardians, or if you want to call them guardians or whatever you want to say. There's 2 more that remain, and then you enter beyond this into a little bit more of a canyon. But very clearly, even still, it doesn't wiggle all that much because now you're getting pretty much that straight and narrow that we see back here. And so, you would be coming up to the end here. There would be 2 of these dragons, and then there is still some path, but you would reach the supposed entry or the gates of the pit. You all proceed. No one bonks. I'll have Bright kind of, I don't know, follow behind you. She's on /follow.
Keep Derpy Snake up.
There are between the
long does
insane
this
perceptions that you all have in your various forms or your makes and models. You can see that there is some kind of dark shapes that are moving, almost like they're fighting, that are lined up here. There's no real notice of you, and you don't even see an enemy, because they're not even fighting each other, but they're swinging, they're doing other things, they're making... I mean, just imagine watching like a Power Rangers episode on mute because they're doing all the, like it looks like they're talking or they're shouting. They're attacking and doing some things too, but you don't see anything beyond just some roiling things. They do look like about your size. They have 2 arms, 2 legs. Well, for those of you that still have that luxury, humanoid in shape. None of them are especially tall or short. And at least from this distance, there's no other details. If you get closer, you might be able to make them out if you wish, but before you get too much further, you're definitely going to notice some shadows that are fighting. And there are 3 shadows that you can see.
Start heading in that direction.
Okay. Do you want the lead, or do you want to keep it someone else, Mordecai?
I'll take the lead, since I have the best eyesight out of the party.
Okay. Move to where you'd like to go. Nothing is imposing you, so you can... Okay.
Right there.
I want Derpy Snaker to be here.
All right.
Derpy Snaker lasts an hour, right?
Yep.
Okay. It seems as if before you cross this threshold of sight, as you've experienced before, so Mordecai, you would be right on that threshold between where... this is almost like, have you seen The Neverending Story? No? Okay.
I have.
It's almost like the 2 sphinxes that are in the canyon. Like, kind of, they're in that perch, and then, like, there's just a point where they watch people pass, almost like these walls that you've been encountering here. But Mordecai, without bonking, will say that like you've crept up to the point where nothing has started. Presumably, if you take like 1 step forward, or you kind of you take your tail and you kind of go whoop, you can kind of poke it into the laser line if you wanted to. But if any of you want a position, and of course, tell me if you want Bright someplace as well.
Keep Bright in the middle.
There?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll take up the rear with my competitive eyesight.
Sure. Okay.
That's a perception of 27.
All right. You all are here. besides being uncomfortably warm, even for all of you that are resistant or even immune to fire, because you're still feeling the effects of... I mean, it's lava, but it's also more than lava. Do you want to do anything, or is this the point of crossing the threshold and seeing what happens next?
Cross the threshold and see what happens.
Yep.
Expect the riddle.
Okay. Mordecai, well, if you don't want to step forward, if you want to be there, again, you can just sort of like take your tail and kind of boop.
I'll step forward.
Sure. All right. Whoops. Well, whatever. Yeah, I think that thing was there. I don't speak.
You don't speak what?
And as this is... I haven't called initiative. This is kind of real time here. You can reply back. There's no shimmering. Nothing manifests. There might be an invisible wall. If you want to test it, you can. But right now, there's nothing that's, there. And you reply, you don't speak what?
Test it. The worst thing that could...
Hear or speak. And so far, this is what you have. I'll write it down for you because I know that can help out sometimes.
Yes, please.
I don't speak, comma, can't hear or speak. Do any of you want to interact with this thing, say or do anything?
I have heard this riddle, but I will wait for its completion.
Okay. So far, again, nothing has seemed to happen. The riddle continues. Anything but I will always. Anything else from Mordecai or the rest of you? I mean, beyond being on the lookout.
Just listening, keeping my eyes peeled.
Okay. Nothing so far. Tell the truth. What am I? And for those out in Twitch chat, I will post the whole what's-a-madoodle here for you. There you go.
So, once it is finished speaking, Cypher will speak up. You are a mirror.
And when that happens, Mordecai, the answer, apparently this must be the answer. At least something happened now. But a visible mirror with an immaculate shine does in fact appear before you. And the mirror shows Mordecai as someone who doesn't look like that you've been through battle. You look like, you're wearing some, your trademark colorful clothing. You have your colorful tattoos. This is as you're standing there. This is your immediate descriptor. But you don't look bedraggled. Actually, you look like you got a good night's sleep, even. You look refreshed. Your hair is as you favor it. Are you or anyone else doing something? We're not really an initiative. This is kind of real time.
That's what's staring back at me, or am I looking at something happening?
You're looking at yourself.
So as a direct reflection, as if I was looking at a reflection.
Yeah. So if you're standing there, like Superman pose, this thing would be in Superman pose too. You're looking at yourself. However, it's not the way that you're like, I got this tear in that fight or whatever else. Like you look bedraggled. You look like a hot mess, Mordecai. Having gone through some stuff here.
I'm also wearing different clothes. I'm wearing mostly black.
Oh, that's true. So this is, So what you're seeing is I don't know, I guess, almost like a default. I'm trying to phrase it in a way that I'm talking in the meta, but I also want to make sure I'm representing the concept to you in character. And I know you'll work with me in that regard, but
Right.
This
And
looks
when I move,
like
it moves. When I speak, do I hear a voice?
you hear your voice.
But just from me, not from the reflection.
Correct.
And it just manifested in front of us.
Yeah, as soon as the professor said mirror, a mirror manifested in front of you. And you see yourself, except it's not exactly as you are currently looking.
Honey.
This mirror lies. This is not what I look like. Professor,
Hmm.
come take a look at this.
I'll come and take a look at this.
It's
Okay.
a lying mirror. This is
So
So what do I look like in the mirror's reflection?
Oh, sure. Yeah. The spectator professor kind of bloops over. And this is not the music I wanted. You stop. You stop. Why are not the right ones playing that I clicked? Give me one moment. Sorry. Okay. Professor, well, not just you see this, but Mordecai, you see this as well. You are seeing not a spectator. I mean, we're not sure what he is, but by out of character terms, you don't see a spectator kind of floating there. But you do see the professor as someone who is very distinguished, is a person of means or influence, dressed very neatly, in what have yous.
much as he looked as he was human.
Yeah, well, maybe even a bit more.
This isn't a mirror that lies, Mordecai. This is a mirror that sees past the facade and at the truth. Less a lie and more what could have been.
Could have been. Meaning that how we exist now is only one truth.
Yes.
I don't like existing as a vampire, so I wish that truth were mine.
Well, I mean, of course you would wish for that.
There's lots of things I would wish for.
Is there any way to pass the mirror?
It goes up and up. So presumably with the spatial clue that Bright figured out, it does look like it has a top. However, reaching that is probably going to be another matter. It is also a mirror. You could just try breaking it or marring it.
I just want to touch it. Just touch it.
Sure. And you feel, as you make contact, almost like it should be a solid surface, not cold, because especially where you're at, you know, it'd be presumably ambient temperature here. But you do feel a warmth, and the warmth is that of fingertips that are pressing against you, Mordecai. Now, your flesh, well, I mean, you kind of take room temperature wherever you're at, so you're warm too. So I guess it would feel cooler, but it'd be like a normal cool to you here. But yeah, you actually don't feel hard mirror. You actually feel flesh pushing back.
Pressed harder? Like, try to shove?
Okay. You
Or
start
just press my hand into it?
you start pressing against it, and there is that moment where there's actually like a pass through, and it feels kind of weird because it's a solid through a solid. It's not like one is ethereal or like a fog that you're passing through. And as you are, oh, okay.
I don't know what this is going to do. Right, would you identify this, please?
Oh, sure. Give me approximately 11 minutes.
I'm willing to wait.
Whoop, whoop. You all see... Ooh. Oh, I wish Fluffy was here. Because this... this actually could end up being a very interesting clue or... beyond the identify. We... might see... Oh, gosh. We're either going to see a very happy, cheerful Bright that, you know, looks sagely. She probably has some beautiful, I don't know, like some scrolls or stuff around her. Or we might actually see an undead brimming with power gnome descending down here. So I'm gonna leave the description. You all are getting the gist already of the mirror, so let's keep an open mind for what Bright would look like when she approaches. But I honestly can't tell you her appearance in this moment. Now,
Casimir's gonna walk up.
Casimir walks up as well, and this could be an interesting test as well. You all are here. You've seen enough of each other. You've done some preliminary experiments while Bright is is attempting to cast this identify ritual. Casimir, how do you see yourself? And I don't mean just like how do you appear. Like, Casimir, are you, and if we peel back the silver skin, we peel back, the alignment is kind of the expression of your person. So even if we peel back alignment, which could be a conduit from your deeply held beliefs and actions into the world, Casimir, how do you exist? How do you appear? What is Casimir's, like, core true self? And I will say this as well, and this could alter some of your other appearances, but Casimir, this could very well, if we're peeling back these descriptors, this could peel back, you being an elf, you being a muscly person. This could peel back any sort of an adjective that you can apply to yourself.
I didn't think about this for a moment.
Because, if deep down, Casimir, like, you've embraced this feral part of you, maybe you are the same. And this is how you appear. There's no change for you in the mirror. Maybe you appear, I don't know, you had a friend that you always liked, and a halfling. And, because halfling, no, wait, I think it was stone. It was halflings or gnomes, I forget offhand, in the immediacy, that are one of the major inhabitants of the deserts of Aslandia. And, I don't know, maybe you and her were friends, and you're like, you know what? It was such a fun little, like, culture, a fun time. I always loved that. Maybe you appear as a halfling of any make or model. But, what, not just an ambition, what is the true core? The good, the bad, the ugly, the contentious, the shocking. What is Casimir? At Casimir's absolute core in essence.
I think when he walks in the mirror, you just see a pure silver dragon.
Okay. So we have your I guess your humanoid self is descending, is like kind of coming over, but what's reflected in the mirror is an actual, like, 4 legs, 2 wings silver dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then that's what you all see reflected. And you want to do something to the mirror? You want to interact with it?
No, I'm just looking.
Okay. So that's what you all see. Now, for the sake of some introduction to figuring this out, or to answer the prompt here, the riddle's been answered, but the challenge doesn't seem to have been overcome. I made a presumption about you, Professor, based on kind of what we had talked about and the things that I knew. However, I could be wrong in that initial description. And that is fine, because bleeding into this, if there is a part of you that you see about your character that is different, it can very much change before your eyes to reflect this ultimate truth. We can throw in an example like, I don't know, Casimir, you have these bright green eyes. I don't know, maybe you've always dreamed of having blue ones or something. So, Casimir, yeah, you're a dragon, but after a moment of contemplating, of thinking about yourself, and, and what is this ultimate truth of Casimir, maybe Casimir has blue eyes. And so that would be reflected very literally in this mirror. Now, I'm not saying you do. This is an example for you all to consider as you're interacting with this mirror in its current, So, Professor, maybe initially you came down as a very distinguished, like, you have all the, I don't know, you had, like, all the academic robes and all the little badges and everything that might come with that station, or even trappings of leadership or nobility, some variety. But now that you all have been here and you've kind of seen how this is working, Coffee, real quick, or as Mordecai, real quick, Casimir approached the mirror and was, kind of this devil dragon form, but the mirror is reflecting in a silver dragon. Like, honest to goodness, 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 wings, a big old tail, and Casimir. Now, Casimir standing next to you is not a dragon, but Casimir in the reflection is a full-on, like, from the storybook, maybe even from your consideration, a silver dragon in that regard.
I've seen a silver dragon, Mr. Halver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the same kind?
Well, Casimir, you did get to, you got to see Mr. Halver, though it wasn't
Not
exactly...
really.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
very distant.
Yeah, it was in the distance.
And it came on and everyone lied about what it was.
But, I don't know, maybe, that was kind of like Ash seeing the Ho-Oh in the sky. Like, you're like, whoa, there's a beast. And, a great thing that flashed, because that's kind of what got your attention, right? It was the silvery scales in the sky, and it flashed. It was a great thing to possibly hunt or discover. And that's what kind of drew you in here. I don't know, is there anything in the meta, as we understand, Mr. Halver, or what a silver dragon looks like, but what is a Casimir? And I should also say, Casimir is also simply a part of who you are. And is Casimir actually Casimir, or is this dragon? Does this dragon go by a different name? Or is Casimir like a part of your absolute like core of your character?
I think you'd still... I think Casimir would still be part.
Okay. All right. But so Mordecai, you see that there's a reflection of, because we've gone through the hints and the kind of going along here. This is your ultimate core, Mordecai. This goes beyond all the things that can individually describe you. Blue, bard, tiefling, size 12 shoes, maybe, smooth skin or scales. This could be any aspect of what makes Mordecai. And what you're seeing is the ultimate core, ultimate truth in all of the good, bad, and ugly that may come from what is Mordecai to Mordecai. What is your absolute self? I mean, if you feel like, oh, I'm a wretched little thing, and ultimately that's what you are, maybe you're just a little blob, I don't know. But I'm saying this in the meta because I'm prompting you. I want you to describe, who do we see in this mirror that is reflecting Mordecai? And I'm sorry, I'll get to the professor, and Bright is kind of on the fence, but you all get the gist by then.
For Mordecai, what he believes about himself is that he's a coward. So the reflection might seem a little timid.
Okay.
What he sees in himself is a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Was great.
So that would be kind of his truth to himself as he feels it now. As he's felt it since Corinna died. And he kind of lifts up his hand where a wedding ring would be.
Okay.
And in the reflection, what does he see?
If that is a part of this Mordecai, this true Mordecai, is to have an intimate connection, then you would have a representation of that, in so much that if it takes the form of a wedding ring, you know, because you may be kind of like in a craven. Well, kind of physically, it's you, but I don't know. Maybe just
It's mimicking the same movements.
Um,
Yeah, but it's not there.
but you can have that. You can have that kind of a descriptor. I mean, Mordecai, if you had always been someone who has enjoyed the miracle of life, and you had you could even show up, Mordecai, as someone who's actually carrying a child. If you want that like as a deeper representation, because Mordecai can be.
He's always been driven by love, and that's always been something that he would pursue as an inspiration.
Okay.
So Karuna was an inspiration to him in pursuing tinkering.
Okay.
Because they had plans of starting this shop together.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe growing old and having kids one day, but definitely growing old together. And that's what's on his mind right now.
Then
Because while he thought so of Celine, she broke it off with him.
As far as he knows.
Nope.
And that still stings. Does it sting? He doesn't know. He assumes it stings. Kind of feels like it stings. She's passed away. That stings. That definitely stings.
Then if Mordecai here, you are. This is what I'm envisioning, because I'm listening and following along, because this could very well play into whatever's going to happen, right? Then you would appear, I guess. Then like, maybe at first it's it's a reflection, but now that you're pondering, and we're getting reflections of truths that are winnowing down, that are refining into some sort of, going through the layers of Mordecai to Mordecai's actual core. If Mordecai wants to appear as, I guess an old man, white hair, maybe you got kind of a little floppy cap, you have a vest with all sorts of tools. Maybe it's not even opulent. It could, if you want it to, but you have a lot of tools to show that you've lived a long life. They're kind of worn down. Maybe a lot of them are custom. They're designs you've considered before for something or another. And you have a mark of, intimacy of some way, whether it's a band, another tattoo. It could even be, Mordecai went from blue to being a bit of a silver fox here because maybe got a hickey. I don't know. Maybe that's always been something that you are, you've been fond of, and which is only halfway ironic to you becoming a vampire. But you never told anyone. I don't know. That'll be up to you. But are we seeing like an old kind of content man? Maybe not the big, strong, brave person in the fairy tales, but just kind of a simpler person? Or am I misunderstanding?
It's definitely the life he envisioned for himself with Corinna. But he's also looking at it like, I would have loved to have that. But that's not possible now. This is where I am. This is my existence. Is it possible? Is this... Would I be trading places with a person? Has Bright completed her identify? Because because he's just pondering while
Okay.
waiting for that answer.
If you're pondering in the moment, that's fine. Let me get a little bit more either clarification or refinement, if it's even necessary, from the professor. Professor, Mordecai is pensive right now. What do we see? What is the core of Professor Cypherius? Are you...
So you got it pretty right. The one major difference is that instead of one of his eyes, you'd see that the geometries and things that he uses kind of run down the right-hand side of his face and body, and one of his eyes, instead of being the regular color that you would normally see, is that vivid purple. And it's the same side that he wears his gauntlet on.
Okay.
And so whilst you get this distinguished professor with all the accolades and whatnot, you also get this feeling of this exceptionally powerful magus in his own right.
Are there any other, like, are you 20 feet tall? Or do you like
No.
being a human? Or have you always been a little jealous that gnomes get some really cool stuff out of character? But are you a gnome?
No, it is still a human and all of that. It's just the magical presence is altogether a little bit more different.
Okay.
And maybe if one stares into the mirror long enough, they might see this flash of black from behind him, and it'd be gone as soon as it appears. Mainly because that's kind of showing off what I've got in mind for his 8th and 9th level Arcanum.
Well,
once we get to that stage,
we are talking about your core self. This is something, now, obviously, in our lives, we all go through a great many educational, emotional, and other changes. And so, your reflections can shift and sift down as it kind of settles, but we are coming to maybe this is the pure distillation of the professor. And so in this case, again, this would mean everything on the character sheet is open. And I brought up, like, alignment. Like, if you're neutral evil, but you're like, oh, I'm a kindly good soul. You would actually have an appearance or a demeanor to observe that you're a good person, or I don't know. You always. You like being a human, but you're like, you know what? I was always jealous of, I don't know, tieflings having tails because they're cool. You could be a human with a tail if you want. Whatever is the ultimate expression, not just of the professor, because I know that you've been through physical and alignment changes and whatnot to this point, but now we're kind of having that redux back down to, given everything that your characters lived through all the few or many years that you've been alive, what is this point that you are at where we are going to meet that inner person? And so that's what we're seeing, like, kind of the trappings of high education and leadership. You have the gauntlet as well. That's sort of that subtle power underneath the purple and black.
Yeah.
Okay. The ritual, the identify ritual, will end. And a In the mirror, Bright. She's gonna flash normally in her state, and she is going to look at you, Professor. And in her voice, but with that similar slow cadence, she's going to ask you a question. However, obviously she's a flaming skull. Her voice is going to be different in some other aspects. Actually, I think she's been communicating through telepathy. But I don't mind her squeaking out some gnomish sounding stuff. Probably using illusions to sound like herself so she doesn't go crazy. I don't know. It's Bright. We'll figure it out. But something happens at the completion of the ritual. As you have asked her to cast Identify on this mirror. She does so. And so, Professor, she turns to you, and she asks, everyone wants more of it to feel special. Yet the more you have of it, the less special you feel. Question/observation. But it does appear that she's under some sort of a magical aura, maybe that's been brimming up with her Identify spell. The spell seemingly has gone off. She's not in immediate peril, and she's not shooting you with eye lasers, which is a good sign. But, Professor, this is what she's asked you. And you don't have to have an out-of-character DM to player. You don't have to have an answer to this. But this is just something that she brings up to you. And then she is going to float over to you, Mordecai, as you're sitting there pondering. And she looks at you with this kind of strange cadence and this weird vibe about her. And in her bright voice, journey without it, and you'll never prevail. But if you have too much of it, you'll surely fail. This might be her secret diviner core coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Casimir, Bright Skull floats to you. As you, I don't know, maybe you're admiring and like flexing in the mirror or something along those lines. It's still physically reacting to what you're doing, but your look and that kind of feeling that you're reading from your own image is, that's what's going on. So it's not like, oh, I'm a poor tinker old Mordecai with a crooked back, but a good long leg. He looks like everything Mordecai's doing, but Mordecai, you're getting those feelings, that, that intonation, because this is deeply personal to you. And Casimir, Bright here asks you, or tells you, or simply states, as she hasn't waited for an answer, she's just sort of floated, and she says, poor people have it, rich people need it, it can make or break you. And you have some things to contemplate. Now, I am not necessarily looking for an answer. This isn't a wall where you have to abide by what this prompt is. But these are simply things that Bright, by casting Identify here, ends up saying to you all in the course of the contemplation. She kind of, in the air, shakes out of it. Sorry. Yeah, it's a mirror. Definitely magical, because it just appeared and it goes way up. So I think because of everything that we're seeing, I think we're seeing ourselves. I don't know anything magical more about it. Spell doesn't tell me how to get through it or to break it, but kind of looked like you were passing through, Mordecai. So maybe if we want to keep going, we just have to go forward. You didn't take 1 point of magical bludgeoning damage, did you? I think Fluffy might say something like that to be humorous, but
Yeah.
No, it was more along the lines of it felt like I would trade places. Like it was physically going through me and I was going through it. That's what it felt like. And I wouldn't wish this existence on someone unexpected. And as much as I wish that life for myself, it's not my reality anymore.
I could test with Derpy Snakey.
Sure.
The snake does not show up in the mirror.
Just for us then.
Bright. Well, so the bad news. Again, I'm trying to do my best, Fluffy Sheep / Bright. The bad news, and I'll tell it to you first, is that I didn't really get much information on this mirror. And the good news, because let's look at the good news here, Mordecai, is that at least I didn't get back that you might be correct. Which means that there's a chance that you're not, and you wouldn't be spawning someone into a hellish existence for all eternity.
Alright. I just want to be back to normal. That's all I've wanted, and this seems a little too good to be true.
Well, I mean, I did have those U-berries. Maybe that's something. I don't know that you were normal for a little bit, or at least, I don't know, your normal self didn't look like what's in the mirror. She points with one of her flamey floofs as she guides it, she kind of points to the mirror there.
Right.
Is that you, Mordecai?
That looks like a future I might have had.
Is it a future, or is that actually, like, is that you, though? Is that what you feel deep down? Who you are, who you have been, or always will be?
I'm just me. I'm a tinkerer. I'm just Mordecai. I like to think that I'm a good person. Can be selfish at times, but who isn't? I spent most of my life running, and now here I am in hell. I don't know what I am.
Well,
Am I that man? And he points to the mirror. Or am I something else?
it could just be a trick. That's for certain. I mean, the riddle did talk about truth, and I don't know, so far this place has been playing by its own rules, as weird as it is. But I'm not exactly gonna... I can't tell you the ultimate truth on that. If you don't like it, maybe you could break it, and then we could all go through the hole and not even have to worry about it.
The truth for a specific person walking into my life in hell was that she was Corinna. But I suppose we won't know until someone actually goes in and actually goes through it. So maybe I'll volunteer.
No, I'll do it.
Oh, thank you, Casimir. I was just going to ask you to do that. For science.
That sounds like fun.
No, I'll go first.
Oh.
Think
No
about
offense, Casimir, but... Or, Casimir, no offense, Mordecai, but, if you get traded, we're going to be stuck with old man.
Excuse you.
I'm older than you are.
You're also an elf. That doesn't count.
There has to be some sort of like a logarithmic scale that compares like, you know, elf age, like relatively to human age.
Yeah, I'll go first and see what happens, because what's the worst that could happen, right? The worst that could happen is I don't exist.
The worst that happened is we stuck with old man.
What's the worst that could happen for me?
You're trapped in mirror.
I mean, look, if you guys don't want to go through, I'll do it.
No, I want to go through.
Then ain't nothing stopping you, Casimir. Go.
Casimir goes through.
Okay.
I'm watching to see what happens.
Yeah. So Casimir, you go through, and so, you know, in its own way, despite this being a very large dragon, I mean, you're getting as close to a one-to-one movement and everything. There is a silver dragon that is, like, Casimir goes through, and a gleaming silver dragon, though looks probably actually kind of scary and eerie, given all the red and even this black fire that's bubbling through the lava and everything. You're getting the reflection across these scales, though it was noted that this dragon does have a lot of battle scars. So it's not pristine, but you are getting the glint of silver and of all this hellish light and everything as it just comes out, and it flies off.
Casimir?
No reply.
I look in the mirror. Do I still see Casimir in it?
You don't see Casimir, no. But what you do see is a humanoid shadow through the mirror, kind of like a silhouette that's moving.
I don't know what I just witnessed.
Well, there's only one way to find out, and I'm gonna float up to the mirror.
Okay.
And
Loop.
I'm looking to Bright and kind of gesturing that we all go in together.
Well, I'd kind of prefer not to, but I guess I don't have a choice.
Why not? Why? This is the same thing as when Mr. Halver was taking us to, or no, Stephonix was taking us to the island.
Yeah, so... Hey, you read my mind! I didn't know you had telepathy. She tries to laugh it off.
What?
It's just,
I would like to make an insight, please.
Yeah, me too.
Because
Okay. Go ahead. And I will,
and I have advantage on this, so it's going to be an 18.
Yeah,
thanks
not a
to the
4.
fact that I have lies gauge. Nope, it's not a
Yeah.
4. It's an 18.
Oh, I said it's not a 4, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's, and a 16. I mean, this is... Bright is sounding... She's sounding fearful. Not necessarily like she's hiding information, but this is just, maybe she's as rattled as you are, Mordecai, because I mean, the professor, it seems as if he really enjoys looking in this mirror. She maybe does or doesn't, or she might even be kind of embarrassed at whatever you ended up seeing, because, again, I don't know what Fluffy will describe, like, core Bright to be. But she's just expressing a hesitation that she's trying to laugh off in the bright fashion. So it's more of a personal expression and not necessarily she's lying to you, or it's more maybe like a heading into the unknown trepidation.
It's not a thing that she's withholding information on.
Yeah, she's just
No, it's just a matter she's just generally apprehensive.
Yeah, and it's conflicting with her nature to be supportive and optimistic. So she's trying to put a fun little face on it. But, I mean, you can cover, an undead skull in pink flames, and it might be kind of cute, but it's still an undead skull. So she's trying to put that facade on, right? Calculations, and maybe I can try casting Identify again if you want to give me 11 more minutes.
No, we need to go in. If we don't go in soon after Casimir, we might lose her.
And Cypher simply looks back with an eye stalk, does a nod gesture, and starts pushing through the mirror himself.
So where your arms had turned into eyes and even legs, like they're making contact, and so Mordecai, you're just seeing like a hand pass through an eyeball. Not that it's gory, there's no guts or blood or
Viscera.
Viscera, like particularly inside the eye. I think they're just called humors. It's like vitreous humor or something like that. But anyway, so they pass through, and there is a person who was the reflection standing there, looks to you, looks to Bright, probably gives a nod of I don't know, Professor, given the true self, would you be looking at these people in terms of are you like beneath me or pitiable, or is this a look of is this just recognition? Is there some sort of a salute or a courtesy? Like how would core you that has walked out here, you see this dressed in black kind of beaten up vampire, and then there's this pink flaming skull before rather casually walking away. So it's like a little nod.
Recognition. Yeah.
Okay.
Not really anything exceptionally fancy in that, as far as that goes.
So you're the professor.
No words are said. You just get a nod of recognition before he continues walking back this way.
Where are you going?
Just kind of gives you a dismissive wave over the shoulder.
All right. Doesn't answer my questions.
Nope, doesn't.
He almost reflexively kind of does a bit of a like a prayer hand gesture to readjust.
Okay.
And then himself.
All right. Loop. And you pass through yourself. It's kind of a weird feeling, but it's not. You're not torn asunder or anything. And that leaves Bright to pass through, and Bright will pass through here. Oh, I'm a horrible DM railroading, but the four of you will find that you are as you were on the other side of the mirror, but in so talking, Bright can describe the true Mordecai that had come out and had continued to walk this way, rather just, not like whistling, tiptoe through the tulips, but, just you were walking, you were looking this way, and the four of you are here, all the same, and as you cross through, there is something that has been said to each of you, which also itself may not be there's no monster, so it's not like, oh, you came across Casimir, who was already fighting because he triggered one of the riddles. How do I swap a word here? Because I want to make sure that I'm... Take all you want. Use all you take. And as that riddle / adage that we can even import into here is told to you, there's no monsters here. There is simply a road ahead through. It goes back into a canyon, and then there's this area here. You can see though that on this side now of the mirror, and you've been told it's effectively take all you can eat, but eat all you take. But it's not just things to eat. There are things you could eat that are here, but you are also seeing racks of weapons of all types. They look gleaming. Some of them glow. There are magical scrolls. There are wands. There are implements of all varieties that now that you have this canyon area ahead of you are like sitting on shelves and racks down this narrow passage. And Bright says, I could cast Identify, but we'd be here for a while on all of them. I would have imagined that, especially the glowing ones, they're probably magical in some way. And there are all kinds of things that, there are all kinds of things here that if you want, you can have them. You want a +3 crossbow? Do you want a scroll of level 9 fireball? Do you want a some sort of epic fire giant tower shield with spikes? There are many things here. It's just that you were addressed with this take all you can eat, but eat all you take.
There seems like there should be a catch. There's a catch to this.
I'm gonna go lay down for a bit.
Mordecai says that out loud.
Sure. Professor, if you wanna, I can have Bright back you up here, since just to give you an advantage if there's some sort of a riddle roll that or something to figure out that you want to make. This may still be a riddle in some sense, but it's different than the others. Mordecai has some Mordecai senses tingling.
I think I would like to do that, actually. So would that be like an investigation at advantage? Or,
yeah, yep, you can make an investigation at advantage, as Bright is willing to help out here, too. Oh, there's a 24. Well... we had the mirror. We passed through it. That did something. But of course, we're still ourselves on this side, and who knows what's going on there. Then we immediately come out and are told, take all you want, but eat all you take. You're heading to a place called the Pit, where apparently there are contests that rival and surpass Trine Circus on a great magnitude, such that the only circus in town has been existentially threatened, and this place has also cowed the populace of Oiho above. This might be...
a combatant's locker room?
A combatant's locker room, but if there is a catch to play into your suspicion, Mordecai, because I would be a bad DM if I didn't. And of course, we know Derek has a good phrase about having too much paranoia about things.
Yes.
Through the professor, or with the addition of Bright here. Well, I wonder if we take stuff in. This is a preparatory area. I wonder. It says, like take all you want, but use what you take. I wonder if what we take inside is gonna be used against us. I mean, it'll empower us, but it could also do that.
Which means we should take only a little.
I agree with that. Really, I just need a good rest. I mean, being more protected would be nice, but if we're going in solo, I would worry about myself. But if we're going in as a team, then we should be fine, right? We're a team, right?
We have to be.
We're Chroma Company.
Whatever that means.
It's a name I dubbed our party when Jade and Norlai were still with us. And I kind of felt like maybe that wasn't exactly apt anymore, but if you like it, you can have it from me.
It's not bad.
Part of my team.
It's not bad. But I think if we're gonna get anywhere, we need to stock up. Let's see what's here, and then pick and choose.
Browsing, such as this is, and along this kind of slightly turny, but still this rather straight canyon compared to everything else. There are all kinds of things, potions. Mordecai, there's even glasses of, in your professional opinion as a vampire, fresh blood that are labeled from different creatures and even different kinds of people that you can drink blood. Now, of course, you take on certain properties depending on what you drink. But yeah, there's all sorts of potions that are labeled. There are weapons and armor of all makes and models, all different levels of power, strength in some regard. So the question is, you have chapter 5 of the player's handbook, and then pretty much you have the treasure tables, plural, from the DMG that are lined out here. And then the question is then, what are you going to take, and what are you going to do with what you take?
Mordecai would be looking to increase his defenses.
Okay.
Primarily in the looking for. I mean, he could do with an AC boost.
Okay.
But and he'd really only be looking for AC boost and health potions, and if there's a creature actually that he could drink the blood from to get a temporary boost, he'd be happy with it. Armor would be nice, but that almost seems like too high of a cost. If we have to use what we take and take what we use, or whatever that thing, and Like, who knows? He might be selling part of his soul. He doesn't know to even get this stuff. He's kind of paranoid. He doesn't want to leave any part of himself behind here. Because if he does, then he may not get...
Mordecai, go ahead and roll an insight. And I'm going to give you advantage because you are sufficiently paranoid. That you're asking these questions. You're externalizing them, though you're internalizing them, and that might give you a little bit of a boost.
25. He's sufficiently paranoid.
What Bright said, obviously, is, it's given you consideration in the jitters. And, maybe while the others are, like, picking over potions or looking at one thing or another, like Casimir's like, oh, is it +3 battle axe? This is pretty cool. Maybe I want this. They're doing whatever. I haven't like fixed anything to your characters in this regard. There is a part of you, especially thinking back to, your core. Your core self, more of a humble or even a timid person, more of a coward. If what was discussed by your party intellectuals of the Professor and Bright, it could be a chance too that the less you go in with, the less you'd have to worry about. Now, if you're wrong, you could just get, straight up destroyed.
And
but
doesn't want to be destroyed here either.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I'm, this is simply intuition. This is simply you working out possibilities. Though it might end up being that the stronger you go in, well, it's urging you to use what had made you strong. If you go in weak, maybe that's the same. If you take nothing, or even, the riddle didn't say this, but what if you leave things behind? What would that do? But I'll leave you with that. We're going to take a 10-minute break because your DM has had a pitcher of tea in the time that we've been playing, and even a little bit before. So I need to go use the facilities. Everyone out there in stream chat, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Players, obviously, if you got to use the facilities, or if you have a wish list, you can make a wish list and let me know what it is that you'd like to take. And that could even include, there's a nice soft bed over there that you could take a short or a long rest, because these are all things that you can take into this place. And one of you could lay down for a short rest, and the same amount of time effectively would pass for a long rest too. So this is going to be up to you all and your decisions about what it is that you would like to take or leave with you in this regard. So, all right, everyone, 10 minutes, and we will be right back.